Today, I'd like to share a story from a business client who changes how others appear through acknowledging already being love and fulfillment, thus mediating those to them, while also proving the law works perfectly in relationship situations where one may have once believed of it as highly unlikely to work. So she was going to a party and she had some things to do prior, and being so involved with those things, she realized she was going to be late and started to worry. She said that before she would have highly likely imagined them to be upset with her, and it would play out as unpleasant experiences. So now, she accepted her inherent ability to be highly aware of any state she was about to enter. So she said to me, she went up to the I, which means her sense of self, which is the I that is prior to the state. This means she disentangled from the state, and by being there for a moment, she started to experience bliss, love, and fulfillment, which is understanding of her natural way of being, from which she started to have ideal inner conversations with everyone she knew was going to be there. And then she noticed something interesting happening. Automatically, it felt like she was sending love their way, a one-way love stream. So she let it happen. And she noticed that the more she was sending them love, the better she emotionally felt. Now, having abided in that state related to her natural way of being, on her way to the party, she saw someone she knew and noticed that as soon as she saw him, she felt this amazing amount of love. And when he saw her, he looked like he lit up, as others reflect our state. And then when she entered the venue, everyone was happy and excited to see her, exactly like how she imagined, and there was no concern about being late. She said prior she would have walked in and felt very guilty and uncomfortable, and now being aware to a higher degree of how others reflect her state, she also said something interesting to me. She said, the way to have a great experience is by being a great experience. Being a great experience. This statement is a perfect understanding of the law, and by that I mean you are life, and life is experienced by law. So here's someone who has been applying the law to mediate the true undeniable nature of self, which is love. Now let's discuss this further as we continue our conversations on mediating our true nature of love, as Neville mentioned. Every time we exercise our imagination lovingly on behalf of another, we are literally mediating God to that one. And why does this work so perfectly as it did for her? Well, she acknowledges, as he says, the world and all within it is our conditioned consciousness objectified. Consciousness is the cause as well as the substance of the entire world. So beliefs of seeking in the world made visible from imagination through the five senses is a delusion. All a person appears to seek for, they already have within. They already have it as the self or the I is already love and fulfillment. And by that I mean, if it is truly one with all, how could it be anything but love and fulfillment? Thus, life appears ideally through self-acceptance. Otherwise, a person may appear to operate from beliefs which delude the understanding of law. For example, appearing to labor in vain or allowing attention to drift in areas where they need not be concerned of, as he says here. To seek on the outside for that which you do not feel you are is to seek in vain. For we never find that which we want, we find only that which we are. Thus, you find what you want in imagination. This acknowledges that you already are, which ends the appearance of the person seeking in vain. And so again, it's important thus to, when applying the law, to acknowledge that consciousness is the one true reality, which by nature is complete and has everything. This is what prayer does. It acknowledges what you already have, like thank you, I have. Mark 11:24. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Notice how it says received it, as in you already have it. Thus you confirm what you already have in imagination, which can also be acknowledging as done through the feeling of having, which we'll talk about in a moment. If one does not accept self fully, and by that I mean consciousness as the true reality, like how he said, the cause as well as the substance of the entire world, the person may appear continuing to seek for visible proof, approval, validation, or confirmation. None of these are needed when one realizes that consciousness, the one true reality, is already all, and thus eternal love and fulfillment. He says, knowledge of the law of consciousness and the method of operating this law will enable you to accomplish all you desire in life. So we can say that we can appear to get better at applying the law. And by that I mean, every moment an opportunity is presented to apply the law consciously, to revise what appears by mediating the true nature of God to your experience with them. Again, like how he said, every time we exercise our imagination lovingly on behalf of another, we are literally mediating God to that one. Now, every moment is an opportunity, thus, to see no inharmonious separation between you and another, as there's only now in relation to the past, which is purely imaginal. Now in relation to the future, which is also purely imaginal, and thus what you are conscious of being now appears. He says, armed with a working knowledge of this law, you can build and maintain an ideal world. Consciousness is the one and only reality, not figuratively, but actually. This reality may, for the sake of clarity, be likened unto a stream which is divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. In order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them. This simply means you choose through desire to accept what you already have, allowing it to appear. As he says, by the law, first conceiving an idea, and then impressing the idea conceived on the subconscious, all things evolve out of consciousness, and without this sequence, there is not anything made that is made. The conscious impresses the subconscious, while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. Ideas are impressed on the subconscious through the medium of feeling. So the feeling of already having love, which she experienced as she abided in that moment as self, being as she is love, reflected as others being as they are love. He says, no idea can be impressed on the subconscious until it is felt. Now the feeling being referred to in our example today is from knowing the true nature of self, which is love and fulfillment, beyond untrue interpretations of appearances. John 7:24. Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. Righteous judgment in this regard is acceptance of already having love and fulfillment, true self-acceptance. The self is already fulfilled, created in the image of the Creator, and thus already fulfilled. So we appear to desire, or we could say, appear to accept feeling our fulfillment through desire. As he says, when I speak of feeling, I do not mean emotion, but the acceptance of the fact that it is fulfilled. Now, the feeling of the wish fulfilled in our story today was the result of self-acceptance, not trying to suppress, deny, or control emotions. Emotions are energy in motion. She let them be, which is a form of self-acceptance. So again, to emphasize, the feeling of it already being ideally so, he says, the subconscious accepts as true that which you feel as true. And because creation is the result of subconscious impressions, you, by your feeling, determine creation. So how do we do this exactly? As he says, think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. Feeling the reality of the state sought and living and acting on that conviction is the way of all seeming miracles. All changes of expression are brought about through a change of feeling. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. All creation occurs in the domain of the subconscious. The moment it receives an impression, it begins to work out the ways of its expression. It accepts the feeling impressed upon it, your feeling as a fact existing within itself, and immediately sets about to produce in the outer or objective world the exact likeness of that feeling. So it is what you feel as real, like that's the way it is, that determines the state you occupy, and thus what appears, which includes how you think, emotionally relate, and behave with others, and how they think, emotionally relate, and behave with you. You have all the power to choose. Everything else is done for you. Let it be done for you. To think otherwise is to believe in secondary causes outside of the one cause within, I am, thus appearing as delusion in the reflection of consciousness, as Neville said. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. And so we also discussed this in detail in Thursday's video, which I'll link to in the description. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You could say, I accept self by assuming full responsibility of accepting that I already am love, fulfillment, bliss, and happiness as I observe everywhere I am, others appearing to reflect the state of consciousness of my true nature, which is love, bliss, happiness, and fulfillment. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.